Hello, my name is Rosemary Manners and I'm here today to talk about the thyroid and what you essentially need to know to be able to look after your thyroid. So being a pharmacist, being a naturopath, I talk about the thyroid a lot because a lot of people are suffering from a thyroid going too fast, too slow, just not working hard enough. So today we're going to explore all that in the next little time, and I'll take you on a journey of the thyroid. So what do I call the thyroid? I call the thyroid Queen Butterfly. Why do I call it Queen Butterfly? Because she's a queen. She looks after our bodies. She's in charge of metabolism, energy, growth. If your thyroid's working, you feel great. If your thyroid's working, you feel rotten. So she's a queen butterfly. Why a butterfly? Well, the thyroid's actually a butterfly shape. Sits in your throat in the shape like a little butterfly. But the other reason I call it butterfly, or her Madam Butterfly, is it's very fragile. The thyroid really reacts quite specifically to different onslaughts in the body. And so we need to learn how to look after our thyroid, the essentials for the thyroid to look after itself. So that's what we're talking about today, and that's where we're going. So welcome aboard to my health show, and I hope you love hearing about this essential organ and everything you need to know about the thyroid. So thyroid disorders are really common. That's the first thing. 1 out of 20 people are diagnosed with a thyroid condition in their lifetime. Many more suffer from a thyroid going a bit slow or a bit fast that are not diagnosed for it. In my clinic, it's huge. Like, I run a weight loss clinic. 7 out of 10 women that come into the clinic have a problem with their thyroid. And so we're always looking at thyroids. We're having those thyroid conversations, working out whether the thyroid's going too fast, too slow, how it feels, and what's happening with that metabolic rate determining your body. So there's different sorts of thyroid. There's 2 different sorts of thyroid conditions. One when the thyroid's working too fast, so that's called hyperthyroid, and one when it's working too slow, which is called hypothyroid. So the symptoms of hyperthyroid, so it's too fast. So you might suffer from anxiety, sleeplessness, heart pumping. You might lose weight. You're stressed. Things seem to be going too fast, and that's hypothyroid. Your metabolic rate increases. Hypothyroid is a bit the opposite. So you might have problems with weight loss, your hair might fall out, depression's on that list. Let's see, you tend to accumulate fluid in your system, you get really sensitive to cold, your skin might be dry, you might get a little bit of muscle pain. So those sorts of symptoms are hyperthyroid. Also in the clinic, we see a condition where it might not be diagnosed. You might do the blood test and it might be fine. But what happens is your thyroid's not working at 100%, but it might be working at 80%. So 80% is fine, you don't have a disease and there's nothing to worry about. But if you want to burn fat and get your best out of metabolism, you might find it's quite hard. And if we know that's what's happening, then we'll support it. And there's plenty of ways to support that thyroid. So it's very essential to know how your thyroid's working and where it's going. And sometimes what happens is you can sometimes feel your thyroid, because sometimes little lumps form on the thyroid. It's often got to do with the iodine, whether you've got enough iodine in the system, and that's known as a goiter. You see it more in other countries than in Australia, but it's definitely a sign. If you can feel little lumps on your thyroid, or some people get a big lump, that's really a sign to go to the doctor and get sort of investigations done to see what can happen. Okay, so what causes your thyroid to go out? So we've got this delicate queen butterfly. What causes that to get out of kilter? So the first one is always toxicity. We often sort of might take toxins into our body one way or another, whether we breathe it in or we drink it in or we eat it in, and the thyroid's very gentle. Just think of it as a butterfly, and it doesn't like toxins. So toxins will often slow down the function. Stress, what are you doing with your adrenals? Pushing your adrenals too much will actually affect the thyroid too. High metal buildup, so those people with lots of silver fillings often have a thyroid. There's a correlation there with thyroid. Thyroid runs on iodine, so whether you've got too much or too little iodine in what you eat. The thyroid is often hyper and both hyper and can be an autoimmune disease. And so autoimmunity in naturopathy, we go back to the gut, find out what's happening in the gut, find out what's happening to those twins, the gut and the immune system, and see what's happening there. So an autoimmune disease, when the body attacks itself. So we want to know why the body's attacking itself. And it's usually at that interface where we can find there's intestinal permeability, your microbiome might be out of kilter, there might be some inflammation or some food allergies that are causing the immune system to go a bit crazy and start attacking itself. And in this case, it's attacking the thyroid. So we want to keep our mind on autoimmunity. And of course, there's cancers. You can get cancers in the thyroid. So we want to be on top of that and thinking about antioxidants and things to protect ourselves from cancer. So you've come here today. We're talking about thyroid. We want 6 essential things. We want to go home with 6 essential things that we can do to look after this gland, really look after our thyroids and nurture our thyroids. So the first thing has to be the adrenals. You need to be adrenal alert. Look after your adrenals. Don't make a list of 10 things when you know that you can only fit 3 in a day, and add lots of things that are going to balance that adrenal exhaustion. So yoga, meditation, breathing, mindfulness, walking in nature, all those things are the balances. We live in a very fast life in Sydney, and we want to be able to balance that because that will protect our queen butterfly, the thyroid. So we want to be able to protect that as much as we possibly can. So we're just talking about thyroid essentials. So the first one is the adrenals. Watch your adrenals, look after your adrenals. The second one is always going to be eat healthy. So looking at the foods that nurture your adrenals and taking out the ones that don't. So preservatives and all those chemicals that might be added into our foods, our processed foods, they don't help the thyroid. So try and get them as much out of your diet as possible. Base your diet on all the lovely vegetables, the proteins, the things that come from the butcher, the things that come from the fruit and vegetable shop or the fish shop, rather than things that are processed in the supermarket. So that's where you want to base your diet. We also need a few little extra things. So zinc is helpful, selenium is helpful, iodine and essential fatty acids. So looking for foods that are full of those sort of cofactors that are going to really support the thyroid. The other thing the thyroids don't seem to like is really high wheat and high dairy. So you might not be gluten intolerant, you might not be celiac, you might have no problem with gluten, but it does create enough irritation to put the thyroid out in some people. So if you're really sort of on top of your thyroid, you want to sort of try and weed all that out of your eating plan as much as you possibly can, and concentrate on the things that are high in zinc, high in selenium, high in essential fatty acids, and iodine, which is the most important of all. Think of iodine. Okay, so essentials for your thyroid. So we've thought about eating healthy, and we're talking about looking after and nurturing our adrenal gland. The third essential that we're going to think about is detoxifying our body, cleaning up the inside, clean within, get rid of all the garbage. So plan a detox at least twice a year so that we're cleaning up. So there's nothing in our bodies that's going to be affecting our thyroid. We want to look after our queen butterfly. So detoxing your body is a great strategy to be able to protect that thyroid. And often if I have somebody in clinic who's come in with what we suspect a thyroid disorder, we'll go in there and detoxify the body, but we'll really concentrate on that autoimmunity, what's happening at that level between the gut and the immune system, because very much the conversation that goes on there very much affects how the thyroid is going to work in the long term. So that sort of conversation there, detoxifying, getting that gut integrity working as well as we possibly can, directly affects the thyroid, because most thyroid conditions are classified as autoimmunity. There's an autoimmunity component to it. So we want to get rid of the autoimmunity. We don't want high antibodies, because we know the high antibodies come in and they will damage our thyroid. So get the antibody load down, our thyroid works a lot better. Exercise. Exercise is in everything, but we know that exercise will help our thyroid and nurture our thyroid. So when I say exercise, you don't need to run the marathon tomorrow. You don't need to climb Kilimanjaro the next day. I want you moving your body for half an hour a day. Half an hour a day. You've got 24 hours a day, 23 and a half hours, do whatever you want for that half an hour a day. Just make sure you're out there moving your body, whether it's swimming or walking or running or cycling or playing a game of golf, playing a game of tennis. Get your friends out there. It's going to help them as too, but it has a direct effect on your thyroid as well as every one of your other 30 trillion cells. So it will help them as well. So keep on exercising, and that's really good. So the next thing I'm going to tell you is about medication. So there is medication that will help thyroid disease, and it's really important that you go to the doctor if you think your thyroid's not working very well to find out exactly what's happening there. And the doctor might put you on medication. The most popular medication is called thyroxine. But the thing about medication for your thyroid is out of all the drugs I dispense, it's probably the most unstable. So often the medication itself is not enough by itself. And there's also quite a lot of people that don't have a thyroid for whatever reason. They've had the thyroid removed. And so there's a lot of action missing out, and I don't really think it's enough just to take the medication. I always love the eggs in both baskets. I love medication, I love for what it can do, but I never think it can do everything. So that's when I come in with nutritional supplements, and we've got some beautiful nutritional supplements for the thyroid that works really well. And some people, it's enough just to take the nutritional supplements, they don't need medication, but I really think it's a good idea to go and talk to the doctor to make sure that you don't need medication as well. So check out your medication, and then if you're on medication, we have supplements, and if you don't need medication, we have supplements. So they're all designed to nurture that little thyroid and make sure it's got the right ingredients to be able to make your thyroid hormones at the right level at the right time. Okay, so this has been fun. We've had preventing the thyroid. We want to look after your thyroid. We want to prevent any underlying causes that are going to put your thyroid out. So we've come up with 6 of them. Can you remember all 6? I'm going to recap them because we want to really protect our thyroid, which I'm going to call today, and I'm going to call it every day, is our queen butterfly. Because it's so fragile, we need to really take and get to the essentials to be able to protect it. So we had managing your adrenals, looking after your adrenals, making sure that that's what's happening and the adrenals are looked after. Being healthy with your food, getting the right nutrition in that's going to support the adrenals. We want to detoxify our body and have a detoxing plan. So there's no chemicals in our body that might affect that little fragile butterfly. We want to detox. We want to be able to detox the body. We want to be able to exercise it. So exercise the body regularly. We may need to take medication, and that's okay too. So it's checking in with your doctor to see what your thyroid's doing, to see whether you've got a disease. You may or may not have a disease. But if you've got a disease, get the medication you need. If you don't have a disease, well, we'll be able to help you with evidence-based supplements. And there's some brilliant evidence-based supplements that help support that gland. And it doesn't matter whether you're on medication or you're not on medication. So I hope I've given you lots of insight into your thyroid. And then if your body's not feeling particularly just exactly right, think thyroid. She's the queen of all our organs, and she gives you that overall feeling of energy, being able to weight loss, your metabolism, and she's also very fragile. So being able to really get on top of that thyroid and nurture it and look after it will make a difference to how you feel every day. So looking after your thyroid, enjoy your thyroids, look after them, think about them today, and I'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Happy health cheat sheets. Bye.